Good morning, everybody. I'm Logan, and today I'm going to be taking you along with me here on Brian's farm. So like my last video, I'm going to start off here in the greenhouse again, but what I'm working on today is getting all these flats that I used last year washed and sanitized. Now, as you can see, there's a lot here, and we do buy a lot new, but they're getting to be pretty expensive. I think they're almost up to like 75 cents a tray now. So anything we can reuse that's still good, we're definitely going to. And as you can see, they're really not bad. We just kind of want to get the heavier debris off of them, and then we'll sanitize them and they'll be okay. Like, that's just an old leaf from last year. We'll get that brushed off or washed off, and then it should be good. These really aren't bad. And then we have our seed trays over here. They're a little bit worse with some heavier stuff in, but that's really hard to get out unless you have a pressure washer, which we did pressure wash some last year. It worked pretty well, but I don't know if we're going to do that again. We do have a new thing we're going to try this year, and that's with an air compressor. Like I said, you don't have to get every little bit out, but you want to get the biggest of it. So if we can get that blown out and then we sanitize it, everything should be okay. All right, so I just tried the air compressor. It's pretty old, but it always worked pretty well for us. And I didn't realize how rusted it was in the bottom. You can kind of see here. And it actually rusted holes right into the bottom. So when I started putting air into it, it was really blowing out bad, and Dad told me to quick shut it off just in case it would blow up. We don't want anything happening, so this is gonna have to go to the scrapyard now, and either we're gonna have to get a new compressor or go back to just hand washing it. I don't know what we're gonna do yet. You can hear the holes leaking. It started with one little one, and then I heard another one break out, so we don't want to take any chances. Right, Dace? Alright, so since the pump's not working, I'm just going to forget about cleaning flats right now. It does have to be done, it is important, but I'm going to move on to something else. My mom called. The market is out of bagged potatoes, so that's what I'm going to move into. So as you can see, we still have quite a bit of potatoes left. There's 4 bins here, there's another 5 back there, and 4 more on that side. So we do have a lot. They're just not going quite as good as they were last year, but we're gonna talk to some local restaurants and see if they need any. So basically, for right now, I just need 2 50-pound bags of red, and then I'm gonna go up to our cooler where we washed some red and white potatoes. We have them in crates up there. And I'm gonna bag some 10-pounders also, but they're washed. People just seem to like them better when they're washed in the 10-pounders, but they like them dirty in the 50-pounders because usually they last a little bit longer. You can see some of these are getting a little bit of a sprout on them. That's no big deal at all. The potato is still hard as a rock. There's nothing wrong with it. All we'll do is just take those sprouts off and the potato is perfectly fine. I just need a junk basket to throw these into. Oh, here we go. When bagging, we don't like to put all big ones in, but yet we don't want to put all small ones. If they're real tiny, we won't put them in at all. They will get bagged completely separate, but we like to have a decent mixture of big and medium. Luckily, these reds are very nice and uniformed. I would say there's quite a bit of small, but there's not a lot of huge ones, so that's nice. We don't have to worry about that because a lot of people don't want a real huge potato. Okay, so this bag's done. So that's what the bag should look like when it's done. Or that's what we like it to look like anyway. Then I'll come over here, grab my wire and my tire, and I'll show you guys how we tie them. Now this is more of like the old-fashioned way. I'll try and get you a little closer here. Kind of stretch the top, just like so. Then I'll take my wire, wrap wrap it around like that. I take this, I hook it, there's 2 loops on the end of the wire. Hook my hook from my tire in those 2 loops, pull it tight, and then as I pull it tight, I twist. And you don't want to twist it too many times, that top will break right off of the wire, and that's how it should look right there. So now I'm up here to the shed and the cooler, and as you can see, we still have quite a few washed potatoes. They're in perfect condition. And so that's what we've been working out of, just for our 10-pound bags like these. So I don't need any whites for today. Probably tomorrow I will. I'm just gonna work on the reds. Alright, so now that potatoes are done, I'm gonna move into the barn and start getting some hay and straw out. I have to go all the way up in the hay mow though, so it's gonna take me a little bit to get up here. The dogs are excited too. Usually, when we take straw and hay out, we take about 3 or 4 bales of hay right here, and then between 6 and 8 bales of straw. Alright, so I just got here to the market. I'm going to unload this hay and straw, and then I'm gonna start taking down the Christmas tree and the swags and the Christmas lights, just because now it is quite some time after Christmas and it's ready to get that stuff put away. Alright, good morning everybody. So here we are now, day 2, and as you can see, I got a haircut. That's why I had to cut the day early yesterday. And so now I'm down here at the barn. Right now, the outside temperature is 3 degrees, still dropping, and with wind chill, it feels about -10. So I'm gonna show you here, right now, in the milk house, the temperature is showing right around 30 degrees, which is okay for in here. Before I left the barn last night, I had to turn on 2 heaters, 2 bricks here in this heater, and that's just to keep all of our pipes in here from freezing. So we have the water lines over there, and then like I said, as I just showed you, we have the sink over here. And then what we'll also do is crack this faucet there. I don't know if you can see the water coming down, just to keep water flowing throughout the lines. That way nothing freezes up. So far everything's really good, in the barn, you gotta be really careful. You gotta get down here early, especially on a morning like this, because in the barn, I'm about to head out there now, pipes are definitely gonna be froze. There's almost no way of keeping them from freezing. The problem is that another thing is in the barn, you can't have a lot of heaters because there's just always the risk of a fire, and you want to eliminate that risk as much as possible. So like in here, this is all cement, so it's okay. It's in a safe location. This is how it's been for years. But on the barn here now, I'll go and I'll show you. I'm also gonna do barn work, obviously, while I'm here. You can hear the cows hollering. So I'll feed the cows first. Let's feed the cats first. Here's Daisy, she's got her jacket on. So we used to have cows throughout the whole barn, but then we got the outside pasture, and now we kind of mostly just have the one side of the barn filled up, and then we have cows in the pasture. But not long ago, we sold the cows in the pasture, so now we just have, I think, about 6 or 7 cows on the one side of the barn. So this is all water lines over here, which we drained them all a couple of years ago since we stopped using it. So that's nice, you don't have to worry about those. But over here now, where the cows are, we did put in this little heater. It's a little electric heater. So you can feel the nice heat blowing out, but there's no actual flames or anything like that. So, I mean, that is still dangerous, but we keep it really clean, no cobwebs around, we vacuum it out, and that way everything's okay. We've never had any issues, knock on wood, and it's been working really well for us. Just that little bit of heat blowing on this bowl here, in this hole, in this bowl right here, really helps from all these lines and everything up here freezing. So I did just check them. This one right here, you can probably hear it. That's a good sound, that means it's working. But this one over here, excuse me, moo cows, is froze. So that's really not bad for how cold it is and how cold it was all night. I'm gonna get the heat gun out, thaw that out a little bit, and then I'm gonna have to probably come back in a couple times throughout the day because the temperature is really not supposed to rise much. Okay, so I got my heat gun. She's ready to go. So basically all I'm going to do is just gonna work on heating this metal from like right here down to right here behind the lever in the bowl, and just try and heat this up a little bit. You don't want to get too hot, too close, or you could actually crack this pipe here just because it's too much of a temperature change too quick. So you got to be careful and kind of just start back pretty far, and then after it gets slowly warmed up, you can move closer and closer. Okay, so I've been working on this for about 15 minutes, and I don't know if you can hear this, but that squeaking is the button pressing in, and I actually was just getting some water out. You can see it floating around there a little bit, but obviously I need to keep going a little more. So I just got the bowls opened up. As you can see, Daisy's getting a little cold. She made herself a little nest here in the hay. I'll show you over here. Right here was the bowl that was frozen. And now, it's hard to hear, but it's working perfectly. You can see all the water in the bowl. And this one is still doing perfect. So right now we're good. I'm gonna have to come back in here now, probably, I don't know, maybe 3-4 times throughout the day now before barn work is again tonight, because I want to make sure that those bowls don't freeze too hard and nothing busts. All right, so now I'm heading into the potato storage. I gotta make sure it's not too cold in here. We also have our heater going to make sure that it just does not get too cold in here for all the potatoes. I'm gonna shut that door right away, just so that I'm not letting any more cold air in here than I have to. If we do not maintain at least 35, 38 degrees in here, these potatoes are gonna start to freeze and then they're gonna rot. So it's very important with all of these bins that we keep it the right temperature. Right now the temperature is saying, actually, it's pretty warm in here, it's about 42. So I'm actually gonna shut that heater off for now, and then maybe later on tonight or throughout the day I'll turn it back on again. But you don't want to keep it too warm, and there's no reason to, it's just a waste of gas. But it's very important that it does not get too cold. So yeah, we're looking at about, I don't know if you can see that there, 44, 46 degrees. So I'm gonna shut this off and come back in later. All right, so the other shed was good. Now I just went out to the market and picked up the wagon you see here behind me with the Christmas trees on it that I loaded up yesterday with Josh. And I didn't want to do it yesterday because it was too warm, but now that everything's frozen, I brought the wagon out here to my cousin's farm, and he has a bunch of goats and one horse, and then over there he has some cows. But the reason I'm bringing the Christmas trees out here is because the goats absolutely love Christmas trees. As you can see, somebody just threw this one in. They already got it pretty clean. And that one right there is almost bare. They'll eat all the needles and then they'll eat all the bark. So they absolutely love it. It's a treat for them. So instead of taking it home to my farm and throwing them in the ditch, I figured we might as well feed these guys. And since I was coming out here, he asked me to feed the horse. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's a very pretty, well taken care of horse. Loves to be ridden. I mean, very pretty. So, the instructions were come in the shed here, and there should be a bucket full of feed somewhere in here. I'm not seeing it. Not in there. Not in there. Oh, here it is. Underneath the styrofoam insulation. So the instructions were, take it in the horse's pen and hang it up on the wall. Now the horse looks friendly, so I hope this all goes okay. Remember how I said hope? This horse seems very excited and does not know me, so. As far as I know about horses, I know you're supposed to let them sniff you a little bit, just to get used to you. Let them know everything's okay. So I've done that. Now I will unhook this chain. I am gonna put the camera down though, just because I don't want that chain to wrap around and hit that wire and then get shocked. I can't even get in the pen. I couldn't find the hooks, so I'm just gonna hold it. Alright, so I just got all the Christmas trees in, and you can see the goats are already loving them. A couple days they'll have these picked right clean. You can see that one down there behind that goat. Let's try and zoom in on it a little bit. How it's completely bare. That's how these are gonna look soon. I think I'm gonna call it a wrap for this video. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. And always remember, it ain't much, but it's honest work.